Murder in the Pachysandra, a Hattie Moon mystery. Written by Linda A. Lavid. Narrated by Virginia Ferguson. Chapter 1. "Orrin," Hattie Moon said, looking out their front storm door, "you're not going to believe where our newspaper is. All over God's creation. Can you imagine? What was Jason thinking?" She glanced back into the living room. The soft brown eyes of a man in uniform met her gaze. "Yes," Hattie said to her dead husband's photograph. "Now, let's not make assumptions. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. This darn latch probably didn't catch. It's very windy, you know." Orrin's everlasting smile held no response. Hattie pivoted around. A charcoal grey sky, dense and swirling, loomed above. Tree branches swayed from twisting winds and heavy rain. Pools of water, no longer able to drain away, swelled up the driveways. Craning her neck, Hattie stretched taller to see if any of the paper could be salvaged. "Should we call over to the Meekses and talk to Jason? But I wouldn't want to wake anyone. It's only 7:30. Frigid air from the draughty door swept across her cheek. "Of course, I could ask Howie for his paper, but you know how he gets. If I mention any problems, he'll find some excuse to tell me this house is more than I can handle. Remember how he got a few days ago when the pilot light went out? Said I could have blown up the place." Her breath made a small foggy circle on the glass. With a patch of blanket that hung from her shoulders, she wiped the spot clean. "No, asking our son for his paper may not be the best idea." Lucy came to the door and rubbed against her legs. "And you, don't even think about running off." Lucy meowed, then focused a wide-eyed stare at the storm. The day was turning ugly. Not only had her sleep been interrupted by arthritic hip pain and nature calls to the bathroom, but it was further compromised by lightning and thunder that had flashed and cracked so loud and close she had jolted upright, spraining a muscle in her back. Now the tray of buttered rye toast, soft-boiled egg, and cup of tea was cooling to room temperature. She'd have to reconsider her plan of enjoying a warm breakfast while cutting out the coupons. Across the front yard, sheets of newspaper, with their corners flapping in the wind, collected along the chain-link fence that separated her property from the Spencers. Judging from the paper size and colour, Hattie felt certain these were the inserts she needed. For years, Hattie set aside £5 each week for any advertised pre-cooked, flash-frozen or vacuumed-packed food product that her son could throw in the microwave. How he survived eating so much processed food was a mystery. Still, buying him these things was small payment for their weekly trek to the supermarket. Hattie thought hard. Perhaps the pages could be collected and dried on the radiator. Certainly that was an option. Looking for signs of life, she glanced up and down the street. No lights appeared in any window. Quite possibly the few neighbours were still asleep, and if she were to run out, she wouldn't even have to get dressed. Besides, how long would it take? Surely not more than 5 minutes. An accumulation of coats and shoes cluttered the small front closet. With the blanket puddled at her feet, Hattie reached for her warmest wrap, a black winter coat with a faux leopard skin collar. She had worn it to Orrin's funeral 13 years earlier, and one other time when she and Howie had gone to the Philharmonic to see some Irish dances. The sheer weight of it made her arms weak. Still, she managed to slip it on over the long flannel nightgown and cardigan sweater. She straightened her shoulders and fastened the 4 buttons. Unable to see the dark closet floor, she rummaged with her feet and kicked a discarded pair of Howie's sneakers into the vestibule. More like boats than shoes. She stepped into them with her slippers still on. Surprisingly, they fit. On tippy toes, she grabbed
Sample complete. Ready to continue?